All right, what's good? Welcome back to OA Presents Objectively Aggressive. You know me, I'm Calvin. Got Tay here from, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm saying podcast. You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
Um, man, we're gonna take our 20 seconds. We're gonna take our 20 seconds and you know what we're gonna get into, but I don't want it to be as heavy as it is, but we surely gotta hit it hard. And everybody has their opinions, but we want to make sure ours is aggressive and make sure it's based in fact and reality. So let's
Mm,
take our 20.
yeah, yeah,
People always asking me. People always asking. All these damn people always people always ask. People always ask. All these damn questions. People always ask. All these damn questions. All these damn questions. People always ask. All these damn questions.
People always asking me all these damn questions. They so confused, I don't know what to tell them. Why he do this, why he do that, how you do this, how you do that. Hell yeah, I'm trying to do what I want, and I get good grades, that's why I wear these hats with A's. These people recognize that's why they stay up in my face, cause
People always ask. All these damn questions. People always ask. All these damn questions.
All right, all right. Okay. So good day to you, Tay. How you
what's going
doing,
on,
man?
brother? Man,
How you-
doing good, man. Doing good. Enjoying the day, you dig? You know what I'm saying? Just enjoying the day, man, and trying
I'm
to find some
I'm
time to read and stuff, but it's all good. What's up with you?
I'm trying to do the same thing, man. Before we get into it, I'm on my second day of not wearing the uniform, and weird.
Congrats. You're supposed to be like, hey, you're supposed to tell the people like, thank me for my service. All right, that's what you're supposed to do, man. You know.
Weird. I'm trying to figure it out. But it's just I appreciate the time and effort that everyone uh, provided me. The opportunity to serve this country, and yeah, I appreciate the support. And with that, man, let's talk about takeoff and landing. I use that for a reason because we're talking about takeoff. And so my sweet serenade today is success what we think it really is? And the reason that I asked that is because I'm not going to speculate why he died, but I'm going to say he was in the wrong place at the wrong time for who he is.
Mm.
And him being as successful as he is, I don't think he had any business there. And his uncle and anybody in his family at that age should be guiding him to make sure that he's not in certain places like that. And so when I'm saying taking off and landing, hey, we're all striving for some sort of success in life. But at some point in time, you got to be able to drop those immature, boyish, girlish, whatever we're calling things, and keep it moving for your success. Because, just like we mentioned earlier, Big L, casualties of a dice game. Like, what reason you're a multi-million dollar selling record artist? Why are you playing? And he wasn't, but his uncle was, Quavo, whatever. Why are you playing dice? Like
Mm.
the thrill of it. We know what dice is. It's the thrill, but we got to think about the age. And so what I'm saying, sweet serenade to like, what is success? And do you know when the hell to step away from the shit you used to do? There's a lot of things in there. What you
Yeah,
got?
yeah, yeah, man. My thing is, my mind don't necessarily go to the dice game. You dig? I think dice is kind of like spades or bid whist or what I mean or something like that. You know what I mean? It's part of black culture and things of that nature. But I understand what you're saying. Where what I'm saying, dice games can be games where little testosterone can go up, man. You know what I'm saying? Because in our society, dice games is about the money. You know what I'm saying? And we're a society where money is a religion. You dig? And so
Well, that's
and
the difference. That's the difference between the spades game to me, though.
hmm
Like a spades game, you got four people. There's a team effort. You know what I mean? Most of the time, there's not money involved. It's just
Mhm.
pure bragging rights. And you can talk shit, but eventually it's gonna get calmed down. Somebody gonna calm down, like, hey, bro, come on, like we got you. Like, keep the cards on the table, blah, blah, blah. But in a dice game, it's like everybody for themselves, money on the table. You're betting, and if you know what I mean, like it's just too much. It's too much going on. And I know we're making it simple right now, talking about the dice game, but remember, there's layers to this. There's an onion to all of this by the mere fact that what could happen at a dice game.
Yeah, man. I think that's but my thing is I mean just you know, the always elephant in the room is gun violence in this country. So it's not just the dice game, it's what can happen anywhere in America. You dig? Like, many my issue with all of this is that people are trying to make the correlation with rap music and black culture with Quavo, or Takeoff's death, you know what I'm saying? And that's not the correlation. You know what I mean? The correlation is gun violence in this country, you know what I'm saying? And how people in this country can um have uh take their anger, violence. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna use this gun as a way to express myself violently. You know what I'm saying? And I
All
think that.
right. So the way I look at things, it starts at least four ways: structurally, human resource wise, politically, and symbolically. And so, gun violence being an issue everywhere, that is one frame of thought, that is one consciousness, one issue inside of a lot of issues for me with this particular one. Right.
Mhm.
So in every instance that we have is going to be an individual aspect that we have to look at. Right. Just like every police shooting, we talk about there's a big issue, but it comes down to the individuals that it involve. And so,
Mhm.
as we talk about gun violence, we're talking about good people being gun carriers,
Mhm.
right? And so, and I say that because I would like to think that I'm a good person and I happen to have a gun,
Yeah, the
right?
majority of
Or
people are.
two.
That's what the information. That's what the data says. The majority of people
But the
do.
data is whatever because all you got to do is have a bad day.
I mean, that's
Shit. All you
that's
got
their.
to do is have a bad day.
I
And
mean,
then and then it's over. And then what's a bad day? A bad day for somebody could be suicide, never coming back. A bad day could be homicide and then getting killed, never coming back because they had that bad day because they had the power to do it. And
mhm.
so gun violence is one issue, but if we're talking about takeoff, I'm wondering like you don't even hear that much about takeoff. Sometimes like being where I am, like I'm 12 years older than him, and I know about him because of the success, but I'm not like a Migos fan where I have every single thing, and I know there are a couple of songs that be banging.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know what I mean? But it's
Yeah,
like when I hear takeoff, I'm like, oh man, what does he do? What was his verse? You know what I
yeah,
mean? And I think of him of being like a docile member, and then I'm hearing he's at a dice game. And then you hear the complexities of Quavo being his uncle, and then I mean, and then what the other boy
yeah.
name is
You have
Offset. Offset
Offset.
being his cousin, like
Yeah.
they're all in the same mind frame, like regardless of the ascribed positions, right? And so he follows his uncle to a game, which is so easy to do because you trust your uncle, you love your uncle. I don't care how old he is, older than you,
Mhm.
1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm.
and he's there.
Yeah, but Migos is one of my favorite rap groups, man. They are.
Okay,
I've been listening to Migos for like man, like for a long time. You know what I'm saying?
me
They're
too.
not they're not one of my favorite groups because they're lyrical. They just make good music. You know what I'm saying? And the age difference between Takeoff and Quavo is not that big. I think it's like 3 years or something like that. It's not.
Dude, 3 years. I
They,
got an uncle that's 3 years older than me.
yeah, but they kind of grew up together, you know what I'm saying? So,
Yeah,
there's that dynamic, you know what I'm saying? They aren't they look they're more brotherly than they are,
I know exactly
what
how
we
it
would
go.
determine, an uncle nephew relationship would look like, you know what I'm saying? Uh, you know, but again, I think that they were at an event, 400 people or so. A game broke out. You know what I'm saying?
Right. A
Now
dice
whether it was,
game broke out.
yeah. Now whether it was dice, right? I don't think dice is a bad game. You know what I'm saying? I just
Oh,
think that it's the people. I think it's the people that make it bad. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
yeah, because of again, a lot of it is money. You know what I'm saying? Well, I mean, there's people that get killed over poker. I seen Tonk get pretty heated. You know what I'm
Oh, not Tom.
Yeah, yeah, man. So, anytime there's money
Domino.
involved, again, you know what I'm saying, temperatures flared and things of that nature.
Well,
Um,
so let
but
me
but
ask you this.
but we don't know the context of if there was something else that was going on. You know what I'm saying?
That
Um,
well, there's always going to be that. And
yeah, yeah.
so I'll ask you this: the people you know to break out in a dice game, are those people upstanding U.S. citizens in the eyes of the law? We'll say.
Yeah, man, and I think we need to be very careful with that labeling, man,
I
because we're
know.
making yeah, we got to be very careful in putting it in that negative context. There are upstanding folk who play dice, right? And there's
Who go
no
to a crap table, right?
I mean, go to a crap. I mean, there were people who I would say who would be upstanding people in the military that I knew, you know what I
Hmm.
mean, who were senior
Right.
NCOs, officers at the places that I was when I was a young airman, and they played dice like, and we would consider them upstanding folk. But the danger is that we got to be very careful that we aren't connecting, trying to make a black to criminality, you know what I mean, parallel there.
I would say that I'm going to be careful and say that not all dice games turn deadly,
Hmm. Yeah.
but I would say that from a young age, I recognize that dice can go very wrong very quickly.
Hmm.
And I don't care who's playing it. Martin Luther King, you know what I mean? Like if I see somebody playing dice, I'm like, whoa, they're bold.
Hmm.
It is bold to step inside a game of dice. Shit, don't even add the third one. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? East Coast type stuff. Like the game itself, it draws a certain type of attention. Like, hey, listen, people, eh, just if you play dice a certain type of way in the corner, you have a certain type of pass. I don't care. I'm not judging you. I'm not judging you because I know because how do you know how to play dice like that? You had to come up around it,
Hmm.
and if you partook in it, that doesn't make you a bad person.
Right, right, right,
But
right,
the
right.
likelihood of you being in certain places where games like that pop off, that shit ain't happening at Carnegie Hall.
Yeah, but
And
this
if
was
it
at
is,
a
it's on
bowling alley, you know.
it's wherever it pops off. All I'm
Yeah,
saying
yeah.
is myself, I'm not trying to connect it to criminal. I'm not trying to say it, but
Hmm.
if you go to certain clubs at night and they start shooting, you can't be surprised.
No, and you can't be surprised because again, in this country, we have a gun fetish in this country. You know what I'm saying? And we have a penchant for violence in this country. This country is born on violence. You know what I mean?
I
We
agree with you.
removed people who were indigenous to this country by violence, you know what I'm saying?
I agree
And
with you.
then we enforce that, and then we put more violence in the black communities when it came to the crack era, right? And the crack
Right,
epidemic, you know what I'm saying?
right.
So I'm not surprised. I am less surprised that this incident happened. You know what I'm saying? I'm surprised that it happened to this individual because of the character of this individual. Again,
Right.
this isn't an individual uh who doesn't come across, you know what I'm saying, as being, you know what I mean, uh, uh, um, taken off this earth in the manner in which, he was taken off the earth. So, you know, um, so to me, this is my confident opinion. This is, is that it's less about the dice game and is more about it's more about gun violence in this country. You know what I'm saying? And
So
you know, gun violence that not only happened to people like Quavo, but gun violence
mhm,
that happened to kids in school. You know
right.
what I'm saying? Like kids
Mhm.
cannot go to school without, you know, the probability of, you know, some sort of gun violence. You know what I'm saying? So
All right.
that's
So what's the quicker thing to get after since we're talking about, gun violence,
hmm
right? So what's the difference? We have to have a life where something has to give.
hmm
And the gun violence that seems to affect the country seems to be mass shootings, right?
hmm
And then mass shootings affect everyone. And
hmm
then when certain mass shootings, hit people like us, it's like an extra, some extra trauma with it, right? But when we
hmm
have these individual incidents in our community, we all start clamoring. All right, what is it? All is gun violence, and
Yeah, yeah.
it's gun violence. But how do we teach people to think more rationally,
hmm
right? Because if there's going to be gun violence everywhere, you should be prepared for gun violence,
Yeah,
right?
man. Yeah, and you know, I was thinking about this, man, because you know, I think that you know, and I was thinking about because again, the other question is about rap music. You know what I'm saying? That's been brought up and unjustly, you know, brought up into this conversation. You know what I'm saying? In the '90s, we had the Stop the Violence movement. You know what I mean? One of my favorite rap songs. You know, self destruction. You're headed for
Yeah,
self
for
destruction, right? And then that was the East Coast version, and then you had the West Coast version, which was we're all in the same gang, right? That happened at the same time. They both were very stop the violence songs, and so I think that part. While I don't think it's a big issue, I think part of the issue is the music because the music um, doesn't recognize the collective, right? It's always taken, you know, it's always individualistic. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Whether you know, hey, if I got a problem, you know, the music is usually, hey, if I got a problem, then I'm gonna take you off this earth. That's usually the
yeah,
lyrics. You know what I'm
yes,
saying? And so
absolutely.
it doesn't recognize the collective, right? So you don't see this person as a, you know, as part of the collective. So it's easier to, you know, promote violent acts against this person. You know what I'm saying? So
I would I would
mhm,
tell you this, Tay. As a person who has done music, I can
mhm.
tell you that it's very easy to freestyle violence.
Oh yeah, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It's easy. It's
Like
easy.
it's
It's
too
easy to make
easy.
money. It's easy to make money off of. That's why a lot of the music, a lot of the rap music went from, you know, next year's 50th anniversary of rap. People don't know of hip hop. My bad, hip hop, which is rap, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, I mean, the songs went from like 5 minutes to 3 minutes on purpose. You know what I mean?
Oh,
The bars become part of the hook becomes part of the bars on purpose.
right.
That's why it got dumbed down on purpose to sell. It's easier to sell.
Okay.
It's easier to sell a rhythm than it is actual, you know, lyrics, you know.
So
And
so now we're talking about music. And
mm,
is there correlation or causation with music?
nah.
And I'm
Mhm.
saying, I'm saying we're talking objectively.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because you don't know that. We don't know. Everybody who says it out their mouth has no idea because nobody can bring you data unless somebody's bringing you data right now,
Mhm, mhm.
right? Because the question would be, does music influence people to act on the behaviors that we see? Is that
Mhm.
the question?
Yeah, yeah, I mean, it's a false
Man,
yeah, you
if
know?
people, if I'm gonna tell you like this,
Yeah,
can I? Because
yeah,
there
yeah.
there are there are people who have the conversation that the music is just entertainment, which it is.
It is. Mhm.
However, when you talk about things like the fraud triangle, right? The
Mhm.
fraud triangle presents rationalization, opportunity, and pressure
Mhm.
for trouble. I call it the trouble triangle. When you
Yeah.
have those three things, that's when people do bad things,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
They talk about it in white collar, crime, right? When you embezzle something, like you got the pressure, you got the just, you know what I mean, like the rationalization and the opportunity, right? And so what I'm saying is, with the music, there is a difference the way that people listen to music. When I'm riding in my car now and I'm bumping that new Jeezy, I mean, I can relate it in a lot of different ways, but that's me. I'm listening to it for entertainment purposes, but there's a lot of stuff that I could relate to as a grown man, point blank period, that lived in the game, blah, 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 blah. Now, when you have people, here was something I was thinking about earlier. When you have people who look like us, young black boys, young black girls, who look at, let's just say, the quickest way out of a bad situation, right? And the quickest way out of a bad situation we've seen in people's eyes, music and sports, right? And so when you think of people in music or sports, when do they hit their zenith? In their 20s. So people are on this mad dash for greatness and success in careers that peak in their 20s. So the vision for life ain't even together yet, because you're like, okay, I need to make it big and be something by the time that I'm 30. Pretty much, right? And so if you're tying your dreams and success to doing what and emulating what people do, like, I need to play ball. We all wanted to be like Mike or somebody similar, and we were out there doing it. If you wanted to be like Jerry Rice, you were out there doing it. If you wanted to be like, Hank Aaron or whatnot, whatever, you were out there doing it. And so when it comes to this rap music, it is so much easier to emulate it in certain forms of fashion, besides going to buy the most expensive things that one would think. Okay, cool. And follow this line of thinking real quick. All I'm saying is, as a young black man in a situation that I wish was different, not coming from all the privilege, because everybody wished they had a better life, rap music was an outlet to me. And then trying to fit in relatively, it was a way to emulate life. Okay? So there are certain things that you're doing by yourself with the song, whatever you're taking on. Like when Method Man used to rap, I used to think I was Method Man.
You could take on the persona a little bit, man.
All that. Listen to me. I don't care what anybody says to me. Music is a part of the reason, because you got the people at the top who don't give a shit about the people at the bottom, allowing all this shit to come out. You can talk about killing somebody else, especially somebody who looks a certain way, but you can't even talk about killing a dog. Okay? So at the end of the day, it's all a plot and plan, and it's laid out real nice.
Yeah, but when we're talking about, causation and correlation, you know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying it's either or. I'm saying it's in there.
Yeah, I mean, to me, maybe, I don't know. You know what I mean? People, do video games cause people to kill people? People play Call of Duty all the time, Modern Warfare.
We're not talking about, yeah, people can say that. I can tell you this. People are more apt to being apathetic to killing because of those games, because it desensitizes the vision of, and that all that stuff is, people who go drop the art with the RPAs and stuff like that, like that's nothing but a plane simulation that has turned real. Everything is practiced, like sports is to war, like porn is to sex. Everything is practiced for something else if you're doing it.
Yeah, but I think that for the great majority of us that listen to rap music, if I'm listening to Jeezy, let's say I'm listening to Jeezy, I don't have, the majority of us aren't like, Jeezy is, because I'm listening to Jeezy, I am then going to go sell drugs as well. That's not, you know what I'm saying?
You're talking about you. You're talking about you right now?
No, I said that the great majority of us, right? Because if you look at crime, right? crime or crime, only 1% of the population participates in crime at any moment. You know what I'm saying? And it's even less than that in the black community. You know what I'm saying? So I'm drawing from that and saying that, that music isn't causing people to participate in some sort of criminal activity or something like that,
Are you
like
okay?
homicides and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying?
So, so let me ask you this,
Hmm.
and not in, because we're here for 360 perspective, man. This is Lighthouse stuff, right?
Hmm.
Guide or warning.
Hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, there is a direct correlation to the black community with music, and you can follow it just like you were talking about,
Hmm.
like fight the power.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Then they got into gangster,
Hmm.
and that's when the East and West Coast beef got really bad. Okay, but at the same time, you had a culture of people selling the drugs. Then
Hmm.
you had a culture of people doing the drugs.
Hmm.
And to the point where you had certain people like myself who grew up not even promoting doing any other drugs besides the culture I came up with, which was marijuana and alcohol. Anything else was like, whoa. That's why Eminem was so groundbreaking for us. It was like, what are you talking about popping pills?
Hmm.
Right? And then now you got people rapping and bragging about having prescription.
About
And so
codeine
there's
and
no,
stuff.
and then people are
Yeah.
talking about, what do you know what pouring a foe is?
What's that?
Pouring
What's
a
that?
foe,
No, what's that?
lean.
Oh, lean. Okay. Yeah, but lean was, man, but lean was out. I, I knew about
Bro,
lean before people were calling it lean. We
no, no,
just
no. You
calling
have
it lean.
to understand lean is to understand that that's a Houston, Texas
It's
thing
a Houston, Texas thing. Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
once
Hmm.
Houston popped off with Paul Wall and all them boys, and lean became
Hmm.
big with, and of course Pimp C was already doing this, but
Hmm.
once it went commercial with Pimp C
Hmm.
involved and all that, lean is worldwide. Boy, you can see that. I thought I saw something that said legal lean one time. That's what I'm saying. So to say that music has no effect on the culture is bullshit, and I just destroyed it right there.
Yeah, but I think that a lot of that stuff was already in the culture, and then you had
We're talking
rappers.
about culturally, and then we're
Right,
talking
that's what I'm
about
saying.
nationwide, then globally.
Right, that's what I'm saying. So a lot of that stuff was already in the culture, and then you had people who were from the culture, like Paul Wall and Swisher House and all them, Slim Thug and all them, the boy,
Yeah, 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 yeah.
DJ,
Chameleon, color
DJ
changing click.
Screw. You had all those individuals who brought it, into the worldwide view. You know what I'm saying? And also, the biggest consumers of music are not black people, or it's not black people. Yeah, it's white people. Yeah, yeah, it is. So you did bring it into the worldwide view, and we know how big rap music is globally, right? So it's
Right.
easy to spread the culture globally, even now today. You know what I'm saying? With streaming, but a lot of the things come from, within, a lot of things that happen, within the culture, like, Big L makes Casualty of Dice game, right? Dice already existed. You know what I'm saying? He wasn't like making something up so somebody else can use it.
So,
You know what I'm saying?
so why did he
um
make the song?
I mean, he made the song because that's what was happening, right?
Because the dice game's dangerous as hell.
Well, yeah, dice game. Dice games can
Boy,
be can be
hey,
dangerous,
he
man.
made a song called
Indeed.
"Casualties of a Dice Game."
But remember, he said casualties of a dice game. He didn't say all
Okay,
dice games. So
so I can
we got.
name two. I can
Mhm.
name two. Big L just did one. We
Okay.
just talked about Takeoff. I
Hmm.
had my boy Meet the Doc talk about he knew 6 people who died this year at a dice
Hmm.
game.
Mm.
I heard, hey, there's Harlem. How many movies was there Harlem Nights? He was like, come on with
Oh
your
yeah,
funky
with
ass.
your
And
okay
he talking about sticking the kid. He was talking about stabbing the kid.
Look, man, look. All I'm saying is that the dice game, it helps. It's a catalyst to the violence, right? The violence is already the violence is just, it's a catalyst to it, man.
It's
It
the
really is, man.
amplification.
Yeah, it
Let's just
really is.
say, let's just say this, Tay, because I'm for disagreeing when we disagree.
Hmm.
It is what it is. But my cockly explanation is something can exist and something
Hmm.
can be amplified. Something can amplify it, right?
Hmm.
And so everything, the oppression that exists, you
Hmm.
remember I said it takes rationale, opportunity, and the pressure. And
Hmm.
so a lot of these songs, trap music came from a certain place. They now have a trap music museum.
Hmm.
That was because you have certain people would claim the fame of that.
Hmm.
Jeezy, T.I., Gucci,
Hmm.
right? And then after that, there's some people tied to trap and this mumble rap, right?
Hmm.
But at the end of the day, these are evolutions.
Hmm. But the trap
And in
existed
the
before any of
these
them.
situations already existed. Trap
Yeah,
houses been existing.
right,
If I
right.
ask you what a shotgun house is, you know what a shotgun house is?
No, it was Shotgun House.
Is you can see from the front of the house to the back of the house. So if somebody walk in, you shotgun, pow, it doesn't
Oh,
matter. You know what I
oh,
mean?
okay, yeah. We call them row homes up north, but yeah.
Okay, so
Mhm,
that's a shotgun house.
mhm,
If a shotgun house, hey, with the gun culture and people start getting shotgun houses because it's easy to defend, and it's like, oh, all of a sudden I'm in the shotgun house.
mhm,
Okay, so we got shotgun house. Whatever. Trap houses is about a drug culture that existed already, then got amplified.
mhm,
Drugs got amplified. People start doing Molly. We got popular because people start saying it in the music, and then
mhm.
people thought it was cool. There's no way music influences. People start wearing jabos and box because of Juvenile and them. There's no way. People want to be cool. People told gun. People told what is a Draco?
Mhm,
People
mhm.
do all the bruh. No way. No
Look,
way.
I'm
There
not
are
I'm
people.
not saying this. I'm not saying the music isn't.
It
It's
has to
partially.
amplify
Yeah, I mean, it amplifies, right? It amplifies, certain
already bad
aspects.
things.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, in a way, right? That's what gangster music. Well, people don't understand, man. When gangster music was created, gangster music was almost like was just telling a story what was going on, in the
In the
community.
hood.
Cuban and boys, yeah. But the '90s changed it, when it was just about selling drugs and capitalism, right? It was about, oh, I need to do this so I can buy this most expensive thing, get this mansion and get these
Right.
jewelries. And then in the 2000s, it just capitalism just became part of the culture, as well as other isms, right? You know what I'm saying? So a lot of these things already existed, what I mean, outside of somebody taking it into a studio and then putting it down, you know what I mean? It expanded from region to region, like you're saying, what I'm saying? When Nelly makes Air Force Ones, right? Well, he was making Air Force Ones because people in New York was wearing them. And he made the song because he went to New York. You know what I'm saying? Once he makes Air Force Ones, well, guess what happens to Air Force One? Everybody's wearing them.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's what I'm saying. Like a lot of these things already, are already existed. So that's why I can't say it's the music. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of these things.
Okay.
And I
All
can't
right.
say it's fully the music. You know what I'm saying? Although the music, I get what you're saying when they're saying that the music is, influential in a way.
If you don't, there are certain things that you don't even know about
Hmm.
as a kid, as an adolescent,
Hmm.
and then you hear in music, and you're like, what? And then you might go research that. But let's just talk about like Lil Wayne talking about Suwu with blood and all that, right?
Yeah, when gangs, yeah, when gang, when everybody going gang gang made gang culture cool,
They
right?
still make gang culture cool
I
right
mean
now.
that, yeah, I mean, but that had a it was a certain that had I'm trying to remember when it like in that was like in the 2000s, like early 2000s,
Yo,
so
they still do gang culture stuff
yeah.
now, man. I know you don't. I don't know how much hip hop and stuff you listen to or rap or whatever.
Now so no, I don't listen to a lot of genocide rap. This is why
Oh, for
I'm,
sure. So now we
I'm
got a
real big.
category of genocide rap, which makes sense. I don't
Hmm.
listen to a lot of the stuff anyway unless I come upon it. I'm not actively looking
Hmm.
for it. 'Cause
Hmm. Hmm.
there's so much music that I can discover from before. Man, I won't get caught up on it, but I'll tell you like this.
Mm-hmm.
My as I wrap up the cocky explanation, and we about to hit the 35-minute mark here. Take great
Mm-hmm.
conversation.
Mm-hmm.
My cocky explanation is it's always gonna come down to the person,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, we can try to blame somebody else for what happened to Takeoff, but as a 28-year-old man in that particular situation, he chose to be at every single place he was, right? And um, casualties of a dice game, right? Anybody could be at a dice game and it could pop off. Anybody could be anywhere, can pop off. But
Mm-hmm.
as a person like myself, if I have certain shit going on or certain shit to do, and I have a certain amount of money, yo, I don't even have that money like that, and I'm not jumping in a dice game. One, because
Mm-hmm.
I don't. When you win at life, sometimes you just don't gamble in certain areas. But even if you did, I would do it in a place where it could be regulated properly, because you know how it is,
Mm-hmm.
right? And somebody could be just looking to rob you because that's what they do at dice games. Like,
Mm-hmm.
what are we talking about? And so, my calculated explanation in totality is you have to know your environment, man. You have to know that even rappers are targets.
Mm-hmm.
I now have to say that if you're a rapper in certain communities and you rap and you go about it a certain way, you're a target.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to know that. And
Yeah.
so when you're out here flossing and you go back into these communities where people want to make it big quick,
Mm.
you can't. You got to live totally different, and that
You
us
gotta live.
becomes
Yeah,
they.
you gotta live. Yeah, you do gotta live different, man.
You got
Yeah.
that us becomes they, and that music can't influence you because you're on. You can believe your own hype,
Mm.
right? You can believe your own hype, like, oh, I'm good in the streets, da 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 da. Like, damn, all that.
Yeah,
That
man.
that.
Yeah, man. But as we know now, I mean, the information that we have out now is that Takeoff was a victim of a stray. No, he wasn't directly targeted. So somebody was shooting in the distance. You know what I'm saying? And he was minding his business. So that's what we know. You know what I'm saying?
That's
And
what.
that's how. Yeah, and that's how gun violence happens in majority of the time in this country. You know what I'm saying? It's a kid playing with their parents' gun, or it's somebody else cleaning their gun and forgot to take the bullet out, or you know what I mean. People messing around on TikTok or something like that.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask. Okay, so let's talk about this because again, you're not wrong, and I've been making an argument why there should always be a case for the music, right?
Hmm.
So let's say this. Let's talk about plausibility and probability.
Hmm.
If you're at a dice game,
Hmm.
the likelihood of somebody having a gun there is more probable than not, right?
Nah, I can't say that, man. I can't say that. The one thing I can
Depending on
say,
your location.
yeah,
Why don't
man,
you want to? I mean,
it's
I'm going off
location,
a
man.
stereotype. I'm going off a stereotype, but
Yeah,
when you
that could be a
who
problem.
I'm saying, like you have to possess a certain type of mentality to
Hmm.
bend over and throw money on the ground and throw dice at the wall. That has you had to learn that somewhere, right? And that's a part of us. That's a part of us. But
Hmm.
even if that's not you,
Hmm.
the environment that draws,
Hmm.
the likelihood is that out of 10 people, one of those people could be a bad apple at a dice game.
Yeah, but there's people in Vegas who go to Vegas and throw those same dice on the table, play the same game. They just throw it on the
Not
table. So,
we're
so
not,
you
but
know, but you get what I'm saying? Like,
I get what you're saying. What's the
yeah,
likelihood
man.
of a gun going off inside of a casino?
Not likely because I don't think Vegas is a can you, I don't know the gun laws in Vegas, but
Yeah, I think the gun
but
laws in
you
Vegas.
But you asked about, plausibility and possibility. Like the plausibility of a gun being at an event in Houston is very high in a state where you can open carry, where they don't have like strict gun laws.
Oh yeah,
It's very high,
it's the
man.
Wild Wild West.
Like, it's the Wild West, man. So it is high, man. So when you have these states that, and you have a country that celebrates and makes a religion out of the Second Amendment, then of course, and then you add into it the high stakes, high testosterone of a dice game. You know what I'm saying? And money. I mean, that's just a recipe for disaster, man. It just is. You know what I'm
But
saying?
and that's where I say, all right, okay. I
Mm,
think when you're young and you're black, and we're talking about, now screw that. When you're a young man between the ages of 18 to 30,
mhm.
you have a higher chance of getting yourself killed just by the mere fact of the shit that you do. Driving fast. I mean, the rationale doesn't kick in until 25 scientifically. So what I'm saying, the male brain period is risk taking, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Not
yeah.
all,
That's backed up by yeah. Mhm.
right? So that's what I'm saying. And so when you're a male from a certain type of background, right? And we could say Migos, they're, from Clayton County, privileged or not, it don't matter where you grew up. If you took your suburban ass to the hood,
I mean, that's
hey,
what I was getting ready to say. They grew up pretty good.
that's what I'm saying, man. Like I'm from Columbus,
Yeah,
Georgia, and I ran
yeah.
the streets. I ran the streets in Atlanta and College Park
It's like
and
Chicago, like
Decatur.
Kanye. Yeah, Kanye grew up in a good neighborhood and stuff. Good community.
Hey, so
Mhm,
that's what I'm saying. Like it don't matter. But
mhm,
at the end of the day, um, when you're under 30, you're famous, you're multimillionaire, you're young. Oh, well, I said under 30, and you're black. There's a specific target on you, in my opinion,
mhm,
and everybody else can say it. But if you're coming back to the hood, if somebody's having one of them come up opportunity days, opportunity, pressure, rationalization,
mhm,
yo, why can't I take you out? Shit, your music talk about running up on folks or whatever, whatever, whatever. And even if it ain't your music, shit, music that sounds like your music say the same thing. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
what are we talking about? Right? And then
mhm,
and then there you go. And so I'm not saying it's right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm saying it's a vicious circle and cycle. And so if you have used the music industry in some form or fashion, or you have reached some level of success and your notoriety is there, you have to be very careful how you enter society.
mhm,
And honestly, it's not to say that you're better, but you have to treat yourself so valuable that you don't want anything to happen to it. So you kind of got to case yourself a certain way through
mhm.
good habits and processes to continue your success, or you'll end up in a place catching a stray.
It's America. You can end up in Walmart and catch a stray, man. That's a
Yeah.
dig. What I'm saying, like,
So there's some people, you said Walmart. There's some people don't take their ass to Walmart. You hear me?
a gas station shoe. Again, you end up in a school and you can catch a stray. You a
This is
you
true.
5 year old. You
This
dig
is
what I'm
but,
saying?
but this is
Mm.
why we have good neighborhoods, Tay. When you moved here, where did you move?
I'm just saying, yeah.
Hey,
But
that's racial coding though. That's racial coding.
yeah. Well,
But that's what I'm saying. When you
Yep.
find yourself in even though you can catch a stray anywhere,
Mhm,
likelihoods and probability and plausibility comes in again, right? In the nicer neighborhoods,
mhm.
the likelihood of you catching a stray is not the same versus other places. But hey man,
Yeah,
you know how we do
but
this.
yeah, the I would say that yeah, man. Again, man, I in the country that we live in the country that we live in,
Gun problem.
simply because you live in America, the probability is the same. Like, it's
Yeah.
not where you live at. The probability is the same. There are people, you know, I mean, a few years ago, we had people going to a movie theater, a nice movie theater. They
Yeah.
got shot
Dark
up.
Knight.
You
Dark
dig what
Knight,
I'm
wasn't it?
shoot, yeah. It was
The
Dark Knight.
Joker or something.
The Joker, man. People in a church. The probability of you being shot up in the church is what? Near zero, right?
And that
No, it's
happened.
no longer near zero, right? It's 100%. You dig what I'm saying? So we have to. I think that we have to really again, a lot of the conversation is on the surface level, but we really have to
Oh,
go to the root
so
of
deep.
these. Yeah, we have to go to the root of these issues. And like you're saying, and I agree. I agree. Partially that. Hey, man, when you really have to change your surroundings. You know what I'm saying? You have to understand who is around you. You dig what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Right.
Because it does become a safety issue. You know what I mean? And that's what it became. It became a safety issue. You know what I'm saying?
And so as we hit the mark from two different ways,
Mhm,
um, as we wrap and get into our money tip, right? And
mhm.
so from a strategic level, we're talking gun violence is a problem, and there's other issues that are problems. But today, gun violence, just guns being easily accessible in America, worshiping guns,
Yeah.
and the fact that he was in the wrong place at the wrong time. And I call that when keeping it real goes wrong, because I don't care if a dice game pops off. Yeah, you're like, oh shit, what's up, dog? And you're like, oh, whoa, nah, bro, nah, man, we can't.
Mhm.
We can't shoot that. We'll shoot me, you. We'll shoot dice on the plane, bro, on our private jet. You know what I mean? Like for pleasure, because I don't care unless you're playing with other millionaires. Like, why are you playing dice with people who don't have the same amount of money as you? I don't know that the same, but still, like
Comfortability, man. People get too comfortable, man. I get it.
that's what I'm saying. And so with that, ooh, that's a good money tip.
Mhm.
Like you need to hang up the amount of money that you have. I'm not saying that you should not hang around people who don't have the same amount. I'm not saying be better, but like the company of which you keep, like you need to have the mind frame of the tax bracket that you're in,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah.
if
Mhm.
if you're hanging around people not in your same tax bracket, there's a rationale, a pressure, and maybe an opportunity for them to come up on your ass.
Mm. Yeah, I mean, depending on what you. I mean, this is what Jay was trying to tell Benny Siegel, man. You know.
Mm,
Mm,
okay. So yeah, I would say my money tip is make sure that you act like your tax bracket and try to act, you know
mhm.
what I mean? Like, and when I say that, I'm saying when you get to higher ones, like, and we all need to do that. It's just about putting certain childish things away, certain
Mhm.
dangerous things away. And we all need to do that. That's a self check for us. Like, make sure you're not in places you don't need to be. My dad just said the other night, like at night, take your ass home, man.
Yeah. Go home, man. Go home,
Speaking
man.
of which, I read a lot of different books, man. Um, the subtle art of not giving a this is important to me, man, because at the end of the day, um, just like Takeoff, I would say he would have benefited of not giving a fuck in the sense that he doesn't have to conform to what the culture says he has to be. He doesn't have to be there. Doesn't have to be there for people. Doesn't have to keep it
Mm,
real. All this other shit, right? Like you got to get to a point where you block out society and you have trusted counsel. But you can't get caught up in these things that everyday distractions, this, that, and the third. Like you got to have a purpose, soul work, and distractions come easy through family, through easy come ups. And it's like you can't care about that stuff as much as that external power draw wants you. You got to have a limit for it, and you got to know that you can't be involved in certain things because if you do know that there's a risk there, and so if you take it, it's got to be calculated,
mm.
right? Real winners know how to take calculated risk, but at some point in time, you got to know like what's the reward.
Yeah, his circle's supposed to get smaller, man. You know what I mean?
That's what I'm
So
saying.
it's supposed to get smaller, man, and he's supposed to get bigger. You know what I mean?
We got about 40 seconds, Tay, man. What you got?
Yeah, man. You know, my money tip is you know, when midterms, so go vote, man. If you haven't voted, man, voting matters, man. The people who make decisions on your tax dollars matter. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of people in states like Texas and Florida who are seeing their mortgage go up. They're seeing their mortgage go up because their insurance is going up, their property taxes going up. And it all relates to who they put in office. They put in people in office who would rather see tax cuts for millionaires and billionaires and not for regular everyday people. So, you know, with that, man, and with my book tip, the new Jim Crow, man. I'm reading this. I'm finish reading it. Actually, I'm like halfway done, but I'm gonna finish reading this because I watched a documentary on Netflix called Crack. I can't remember the rest of the title, but it's called Crack, and it was talking about the crack epidemic, man. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So I would say, real quick, final thought. Um, when I say the disillusion of success, success is a upward journey towards, God's light for you, which is your purpose. And sometimes we can get in these particular situations where we're allowed to show our success a certain way, and we should not. We should not. And it's not saying that you're better, but you have to have the understanding that you live in America and at any time you can catch a stray as a random person. But if you are a successful person, somebody could actually be looking for you just to take you out and just to do it. You know what I mean? So not to be scared, but be aware. You know what I mean? Like, proper planning prevents piss poor performance. And so, I mean, it's unfortunate. Rest in peace, Takeoff. I hate to hear that type of stuff. I know we all do, but that's why we got to treat each other better. I mean, yes, I would like to go to a dice game and not be scared, for sure. I would like to play dice and not be scared. You're right. But until we get there, we have what we have. But I can tell you this, I like to show my reverence. And I'm saying show reverence through, every time we see each other, it's fellowship is love. If you ever seen me talking to somebody, it's fellowship is love. You show reverence, to the point of worship. Man, we got to love each other and fear the fact that somebody might not think that we love them and be scared enough to shoot us. Think about if everybody had reverence, man, and just show reverence. There wouldn't be so much gun violence. We wouldn't need it. So make sure you go to oabykj.com, consumerism. But no, for real, because when you wear it, you show it, you actually show it. And so with that, that's us tonight, Tay. And thank everybody for tuning in. Another OA Presents Objectively Aggressive. We out on this side. Hey, Tay, stay on for me real quick. Y'all hold it down out there.
Yeah. Peace.